Welcome back to Fun with Guns, and today we're going to be taking a look at some pistols that I've acquired throughout the past few years that I feel represent the evolution of the semi-automatic pistol. From left to right, we have a Mauser Broom Handle C96, we have a Luger P08, a 1911 clone, and a Browning high power clone. So these are different semi-automatics that have been produced since the concept started in 1896 with the broom handle, going up until recently. So, just for starters, we have this broom handle. This guy is about a 1910 to 1912 production. It is kind of a Frankenstein. Pretty much all of these are not excellent condition collector's pistols, but they all do shoot and they function well. With this guy, I picked this up recently. It had some very crude grips on it. The broom handle was actually concepted in 1896. That's when they started the development of it. And this particular one was produced either from 1910 to 1912. I can't really pinpoint it. The Mauser factory actually burned down, so it's really hard to pinpoint exactly when these were produced. But it does have some really cool features to it. It's, by today's standards, a very crude pistol. It has horrible ergonomics, but it is a very cool pistol. It does have a lock breech, so it has a locking lug inside, and it has an actual bolt that rides inside of this guy. And honestly, guys, this is just an introduction to some of these, but it's a really cool pistol. It's one of the very first semi-automatic pistols. It has an internal magazine, pretty harsh trigger. It's not the best in the world. You got some creep, you got a little take up, and it's a little spongy and mushy, but just something cool for a collection. It does function. When I first got it, it had a very light recoil spring that was very weak, so I ordered a wolf spring kit, and I haven't shot it yet since, but I'm sure it should function. If it doesn't, I'm not really too concerned about it or worried or upset because it's such an old pistol. But it does shoot, and the bore's a little worn down. It's not like a shiny bore or anything, but it's just a cool little collector to have in your collection. Next up, we have a Luger P08. This guy was produced in the early 1920s. It is a bit of a Frankenstein. Both of these are. I believe this guy has a different upper and lower, and I know this guy has a different upper and lower. Some of the parts have been replaced, as you can tell. Somebody actually hand-etched the last two digits of the serial number. That's incorrect. And this obviously is not trying to be an original. It is a refinished Luger P08. And actually, technically, this one is considered an M1911. I believe it was Bulgaria which ordered these. And you can tell a big tale about that to make sure you know it's not technically a P08 is it has a lanyard loop. And that is something that they specifically requested on these to be produced. And also there is the crest that is for that country, and the DWM, this was made by DWM. These are reversed. Usually it's the opposite, where the DWM logo would be on the toggle, but that's just two telltales to let you know this is not a German Luger or anything like that. It is a Century import. It was imported. It says it under here. It has a very shiny bore. They put a brand new barrel on it. So it's just a really good shooter grade. These guys are toggle locked, so it will lock back on last round. Very cool system. I love these pistols. This actually has a very low bore axis when you shoot it. It's just incredible to shoot that. It's a ton of fun shooting that one, so that's actually my favorite out of the bunch. Okay, next up we have an M1911A1. This is a Rock Island M1911A1. Now, this guy obviously is not a Colt, but it is a pretty close reproduction. Of course, the grips are not the GI grips. I've been looking for some. I need to pick some of those up. But if you're familiar with the M1911, it's a really cool pistol. It's got some good weight to it. It shoots very good. Nothing super spectacular about this. It's just the basic no frills M1911. So if you're looking for a good shooter, that's a really cool representation of that pistol. And next, I actually picked this guy up today. This is a Hungarian high power. It's a FEG high power, and it's in pretty good condition. These were produced for different countries. I know Israel carried these for a while, and it's just a really cool pistol because it's very similar to the 1911, but they switched it up, went 9mm, and they did double stack. So it's one of the big first Wonder 9s, but just a really cool pistol to have in your collection. The high powers are they're going up in price, but these clones can be had for a pretty good price. And as you can tell, it does have a little wear to it, but the finish on this is actually pretty good. Just on the grips on the back and on the front, it's a little bit worn on this guy, but all serial number matching. Just a really good clone. I love the grips, and I love the feel of this. So I'm really looking forward to shooting it. I've heard, and I could tell just by dry firing, the trigger is not the best. It's not anything near what a 1911 or a Luger would be, but it's just a cool gun to have. Looking at it, I can tell I'm probably going to get some hammer bite shooting this, but it's just for a collector, a poor man's high power. The clones are really cool, and you can have these you can pick one of these up for pretty cheap. Just a cool little pistol. So these are just some of the semi-automatics that I've acquired lately that I think are just funky and cool. And just to throw in another wild card. Wild card, bitches! Yeah! I got this guy too. This is a Beretta 950 BS Jetfire. It's a little 25 ACP, kind of like a little mini Beretta 92. But I do actually... Don't make fun, but I do actually carry this every now and then when I don't feel like carrying a larger pistol. And it's just a really sweet little mouse gun. It shoots great. 8+1 in the magazines. So here's just a few different pistols. I'm going to make individual videos on each one of these. I didn't want to get too far into depth on these. I know I went a little bit more into depth on these because some people might not be too familiar with them. But look forward to those videos. And I appreciate you guys. Y'all have a good one.